Warrior Tough. Mental Training 101 with Andrew Wittman on 105.5 The Roar. Back to Andrew Wittman.
Sling that backpack and mount up. We're getting back to Get Warrior Tough, the most monumental hour in media anywhere. I'm leadership and mental toughness coach Andrew Wittman, joined by the mighty Lee Harper. And you know, later on at the bottom of the hour, we have a special in-studio guest that'll be joining us in the next segment after the next break, and I am super excited to talk to this person. I got to tell you, I have enormous respect and admiration for him, and you are going to find out why in a couple minutes. Now, Lee, let's get back to our golf conversation.
Okay.
All right, so now, the golf swing of thinking. Now, when you started golfing, there was a certain thing when in your golf swing was like stance and grip, how you grip the club, right? What else did go into those mechanics of the golf swing?
Just for me, it was just keeping my eye on the ball, making contact,
Okay.
and make sure I hit the ball solid when I first started playing.
Right. So now, and then you had to kind of go through those steps of, hey, check did this, check doing that, check doing this, and then pretty soon you started doing it like outside your consciousness. It was like by feel, right?
That is correct.
Right. And a lot of people, I equate this to like driving a car. When you first started driving a car, it was like, you know, brake, stop, brake, and it was very herky-jerky. And then pretty soon after you did it so long, you just started driving on autopilot. Like, we don't even remember how we got home half the time. We just drive, we go past the Quick Trip, the Spank, whatever. We just got, and we don't even remember getting off the exit on 85. All right, so what we're about to talk about right now, I call the golf swing of thinking. It's like if you think about how you think your thoughts the same way that you swing your golf club or you drive your car, or marksmanship, grip, stance, sight alignment, sight picture, breath, eventually this will become natural, but you're going to have to work at it.
In golf, it's called muscle memory.
Muscle memory. So that's what we want to do, is give our brain some muscle memory. All right, so this is what I call thinking like crap, C-R-A-P. So that way people can't forget it. Thinking like crap. It's a 4-step thought process. The C is for clarity. The R is relevance. The A is accuracy, and the P is precision. Now, we're going to ask a question for each. How do we get to each one of these things? Clarity, relevance, accuracy, precision. So if you'll play along with me, Lee, like you're on the golf course and you're on the tee box, I'm going to have to, we need to be really clear, what is the target?
The hole.
The hole. The hole's the target. Okay, so we know that, and we see the pin, and it doesn't matter whether it's a par 3 or a par 5. There's the hole is the target. Now, I'm going to ask this question about is the sand trap, the water obstacle, or the rough, are they relevant?
They shouldn't be.
Right. They shouldn't be, because it's not the target.
If you think, and I found out a lot of times, if I'm hitting over a water hazard and I think about the water, if I just look at the green, it'll go, normally I can hit it over the water. But if I start thinking, oh my goodness.
Don't hit it in the water. Kabloosh.
It's going in. It's going in.
Right. So don't think of, so this is the thought process on the golf course. It's what the target is. Anything that's not relevant, we just take off the board. The sand trap is not relevant. In my thought process, I need to ask what is my target, and is this relevant to the target? What's my target? And so the pin is the target, or the hole is the target. The sand trap is not relevant, take it off the board. The water obstacle is not relevant, take it off the board. Okay, so anything that's not relevant. Now, I have people in my life, now I don't tell them this, but I call them sand trap.
Yes.
Yeah, because hey, look, a bunny rabbit, and they will get you off what your target is. There's people out there that are sand traps, and there are also people that aren't necessarily sand traps, but they'll bring up something in the conversation that's a sand trap. So when I'm on the golf course, I need to remember what the target is. Anything that's not relevant, any sand traps, water obstacles, it comes off the board. Because if I tell you don't think of a pink elephant, what do?
You think of a pink elephant.
See how the mind works, how the brain works is it cannot think opposite. So if you tell it don't think of something, it will cut the don't part off and then go think of it. Like don't hit it in the water, what you just said. Gabloosh. So if people, and this is funny because in businesses, this happens to me a lot. People cannot tell me what their target is. What they do is they tell me what they don't want to do. I don't want to hit it in the sand trap. I don't want to hit it in the water. Let's say I don't want to, get audited by the IRS. I don't want to grow too fast. I don't want to get to the next tax bracket. I don't want to have this $1 million account fall through the cracks. I don't. And what are you going to do is just like, don't hit it in the water obstacle. Gabloosh.
What you're telling, when you say all that, that's telling me I don't want to be successful.
People might be scared of, but here's the thing: is they really, when I ask folks what is it that they want in life, what is your target, they cannot tell me. But they tell me what they don't want. They tell me what they don't want. I have talking to a buddy of mine. He was doing executive protection, and he had lost a contract, here in the States. And I said, well, what do you want to do? He goes, well, I don't want to go back to Iraq. I don't want to go back to Afghanistan. I'm kind of up for whatever. I said, then you're going to get whatever. But he couldn't tell me what he did want. He only could tell me what he didn't want. And I find that a lot in life. And this is what a golfer, don't hit it in the sand trap. Don't hit it in the water. Kabloosh. All right, so then the very next thing is the accuracy. The accuracy, I asked this question. Is this now, if I was to say I'm going to hit a wedge shot, how many yards is that for you? If I hit a wedge?
For me, it's 120 yards.
Okay, for me, a wedge shot is only like 35 or 25 yards. I have an 8-iron that I like for those longer.
I got you.
So remember we talked about truth and fact last week. If I say that's a wedge shot, I have to ask, is this a fact or a truth? A wedge shot is a truth. That's right. It's not a fact. Yes. So accuracy, I need to know how far it is, not what you think that it should be. So, that's a wedge shot. No, tell me exactly what the yardage is. I need to speak in facts, not in truths.
Right, and what you're talking about is like on the Pro Tour, they want to know exact yardage. They don't want to say it's almost 110 to 120 yards. They want to know it's 113 yards.
Right, so that's exact. And then the next thing is also that's accurate, and the next thing is precision, which is can it be exact, which is that's the P is precision. Exactly what is it? And also, when you get to precision on the golf course, what's the target to the target? Because a lot of times the green might be rolling in a certain way. Maybe I need to place the ball over here so it rolls back towards the hole. So what precisely, how far is it? And then what's the target to the target? And as a sniper, we're thinking of windage and atmosphere and the movement. Do I have to lead the target? But a lot of folks will not drill down through that. They're just out there hacking. Not just on the golf course, but in life.
That's absolutely true.
Okay, so what's the target? Clarity. Is this relevant? Is it a sand trap? Is what is in front of me right now, is that a sand trap? See, a lot of folks, if they don't know what their target is, they get caught in every sand trap that pops up in life. They're in jobs they don't want. Their business is floundering. It's not going in any specific direction because they're just hoping, they'll throw enough mud on the wall and something will stick. They're not accurate into how far is it to my target? And they're not precise. Could I get more precise? What's my target to the target?
Now, let me tell you, in golf, I took lessons. I played for a long time, and I did things my own way. And I found out from doing things over and over the wrong way, they got entrenched in my mind, and that's the way I played golf until I took lessons.
So muscle memory, muscle memory works either way, whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah, it's a good saying. It's better for somebody to go and take lessons that has never played golf than for somebody that's played for 20 years and has learned to do it the wrong way the whole time.
Right, which kind of brings us full circle back to around my friend Alan Ford and me shooting number one. Because what happened is a lot of guys got up there and they're like, man, I was a machine gunner back in the Rangers, or I was a machine gunner. I could fire a machine gun. And they're not coachable. And so they're hanging on to those things that they thought was working for them, but kept them in mediocrity or kept them at average, and nobody pays for average.
That's absolutely correct.
So being coachable and getting the right coach, that's the two things. Somebody that can get you, can help you make those course corrections, the right ones, and that you have to be coachable and say, you know what, I'm open to making the course corrections. And that's what happened to me in the Marine Corps. When I first went in the Marine Corps, my mom and dad were missionaries. I never shot a weapon in my life. In fact, I'm left-handed. When I got there, my drill instructor said, hey, if you've never shot, let's just start shooting right-handed because all the gear is set up. The rifle is set up, the extractor, all that stuff for a right-hander. And I shot expert right out the gate because I was just coachable and I didn't have any bad habits. And when you do have them, you got to be willing to give them up. That's so good stuff right there, Lee. I'll tell you what. So here's the thing, clarity to the target. Well, I'll ask you this question. What's the most important thing that you want? What do you really want in life? So this is what I ask a business partner. What do you really want? Where do you want your business? What's the outcome? What does that look like? What do you want your business to look like in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your career to look like in 5 years, in 10 years? What do you want your relationships with your family or your social relationships to look like in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years from now? And a lot of people, they don't even want to hear that question because it makes them go, Because if you want it different than it is today, you have to do different stuff. Because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. So I guess my question is what's the target? What is it that you really want in life? What does that look like? What's the outcome that you really want? And then we can take the sand traps off the board. If you don't know what it is that you want, how do you know if if a sand trap is part of the target or not? Because you don't know. You don't know where you're going. How do you know if it's getting you off track?
And it's like a golf course, like any golf course. You go out to a brand new golf course. You don't know what's out there. If you're hitting a blind shot and you don't know where the hazards are, then you don't know how to go.
You have no idea or where it went. You're just hoping and praying.
That is correct.
So what I do with our clients is we'll walk them down a path, and what I have them either write a letter to me or sometimes a letter to their kids or their grandkids dated from 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years, however far out you want it to go from today, and then just write free flow what your life looks like in the past tense. So it's 20 years from today, and you'd say, hey, dear Andrew, it's been 5 years since you and I sat in the studio at WCCP, and we had this conversation about, what's my target. Here's what my life looks like now. And then you tell me all the stuff. You just free flow and write it. And write what you want your life to look like in 5 years from now or 10 years from now. And we call life on all 8 cylinders. Maybe you write a page on your business, or write a page on your career, write a page on what your finances look like, write a page on what your health, and fitness looks like, write a page on what your family relationships look like. And yes, it's fantasy. I know it's fantasy. But if you don't write down what it is that you want it to look like, you'll never get there. Because where you're going to, it's just a blind shot, just like you said. So let's take a break. And then when we get back, I'm telling you, if you are a high school student or a college student, or if you know a high school student or a college student, or if you're the parent of a high school student or a college student, you do not want to miss what's coming up next. We have a special guest in the studio, and man, buckle up. It is going to be life-changing. All right, Lee, let's take a break, and we'll be right back.
80% of all doctor visits are stress-related. 80% of tension headaches are caused by stress. Most heart attacks occur around 9 a.m. on Monday. Stress is a major factor of anxiety, panic attacks, depression, and aggression, not to mention insomnia. And an estimated 24 million Americans use drugs to cope with stress. Depressing, isn't it? You're meant to live a happy, fulfilled life, and it is possible. Andrew Wittman can show you the way out. The way to deal with stress, to achieve, to break through limitations, and have an internal identity that calms the storm. Whether it's work or home, financial or emotional, get the tools you need to cope with the obstacles life brings you and still have peace. Mental Training One-on-One will help you get what you want out of life. Visit GetWarriorTough.com to see testimonials from people just like you. Take control of stress. GetWarriorTough.com.
Mental